Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode. I have an interesting discussion for you today. I'm actually going to do a couple of episodes on this. I know it'll rustle some jimmies, but that's okay. I want to talk about a very underrated safety feature. This is an HK VP9A1K. This is the new Kurz or compact model of the VP9. This is a Gen 4 Glock 17. You've seen this one on the channel before. You've seen this one too. And I want to talk about an underrated feature on this gun that is administrative that makes it objectively safer than the Glock, and it's one of the reasons I prefer the VP9. Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video. Once again, let me say, I do not hate Glock pistols. I don't hate any brand of pistols. I don't like unreliable guns, but Glocks are fine in that regard. They're fine guns, and I carried a Glock 19, a Gen 3 Glock 19 for about 4 years. That was a while ago now. I think I switched over to the VP9 in 2017. I think I switched over to it. But for 4 years before that, I had carried a Glock 19. This particular Glock 17, if you watch the video on it on the channel, was the gun that got me away from the 1911 pattern of pistols. And so it stays in my safe because it has a special place there. This, on the other hand, is the brand new VP9A1. This one, the K model. But what I'm about to show you works identically on the older VP9s as well, so it's not a feature of the new model. Let's start here, and what I'm talking about is taking this gun apart, all right? One of the things that you have to do is you have to take these guns apart in order to clean them and in order to lube them, right? So I'm kind of infamous on the Gunternet for saying I'm not a big fan of over cleaning firearms, but I am a big fan of lubing, right? And to lube these guns properly, you need to get the slide off and put some lube in some important parts on the barrel and on the rails. So you've got to get these guns apart. And quite frankly, I am on record of saying this, uniquely in the gun space. Again, I'm not against Glocks. I think Glock is a fine pistol. I think when it was introduced in the 80s, the original Glock 17 was an absolute, like a quantum leap forward in technology. I think they've gotten a little behind now, frankly. And the big one here is how you take this gun apart. The way that you get this gun apart is actually a design flaw and a safety risk. And I want to talk about that and how HK's engineers actually solved the problem completely in an administrative sense and made it a complete non-issue, which is awesome, and it removes human error. Now, if you do it correctly, there is no danger in taking a Glock apart. And I always hear it when I talk about this stuff, because guys will come on and go, that's just user error, and that's not a problem, it's just user error, and you're a piece of crap if you can't do it correctly. Okay, fine, but what we're talking about here is a design choice that is an administrative choice of design that works against how humans work and works against how things work best. That's no different than the Serpa holster, right? You know, so people are like, well, if you use it correctly, it's okay. Yeah, but under stress, we tend to use it incorrectly, and that causes problems. And we've seen a lot of people shot in the leg because of the Serpa holster. And so eventually you start going, wait a minute, there's an anatomy and physiology, there's ergonomic issues here that we should deal with. And that's the case here. So in order to take a Glock apart, right, you've got to actuate this little doohickey here. I'm going to use non-technical terms. And there is, the barrel block here is held in place by a spring, and that spring is held up by this little doohickey, all right? So to get the gun apart, you have to pull that down, and it's on both sides. So you have to hold the gun around both sides and pull that down. Well, you can't pull it down when the gun is in battery like this. So you have to pull the slide back a little way in order to get that off. And in order to do that, and then you have to release the slide, right? So you have to get it past that. So you can't just lock the slide to the rear, because then as you hold that down, now you got to release the slide and it's going to come forward with some velocity, friends, and that's not good for the gun. So the correct way to do this, all right, the correct way to handle this is what you've got to do is hold the gun here like so, and with thumb and forefinger works in this case, and I don't care which hand you're doing that with. Then you're going to grab the gun back behind here and pinch and pull it back just a little like that, right? So just so it's out of battery. Then you've got to grab both sides like this, pull both of those down and let it go. All right, fine. Now you can do that. Now it's past that. And what you can see is it's just, you might be able to see that. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's just past. So you can tell that it's past that. Now, because of the striker design in the Glock and the way that the striker release works, you can't pull this apart. It won't come apart. It's stuck. You have to press the trigger in order to drop that piece out of the way and to get the sear release to drop out of the way in order to take this off. Now, I've previously cleared this gun a whole bunch, doesn't have a magazine in it, and I've cleared it. So I'll show you again, just so everybody knows. Okay, I have visually and verified that. Let's verify it one more time. Fingers as well, look away, fingers as well. Okay, we have an empty gun, no magazine in the gun. Okay, fine. So now again, I pull it back a little ways. I pull down with both of these. Got to get them both at the same time, so you got to get a little fingernail in there. Let it go past there, and then press the trigger, and now it'll come apart. Now the challenge with that is sometimes people make mistakes, and what we see people do is they end up doing that without clearing the chamber, and we've seen people shoot up their reloading bench a bunch doing that by making that mistake. Now you never should do that because you should be smart and you should clear your firearm before that happens. You should always verify that you have a cleared gun before you ever try to take it apart. But it's a mistake that people make. Or what I see people doing is they're cleaning, maintaining their gun, and then they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to reload this guy, or they're doing something with it. Okay, I'm going to reload this, and or they're doing some stuff. They leave this here, or they forget the fact that there's a magazine in it. So they pull it back, it ejects the round, they watch the round go out. Now here's the other part of that, is that, guess what? With a magazine in the gun, I can then pull this back, push that out, and take it apart. Well, guess what? If I had a magazine in there and that magazine had any rounds in it, it would have loaded one in the chamber. That gun would have gone bang, and we would have had a viral video on the internet of John being an idiot and streaking a bullet through his house. Probably out of the house, because this is an exterior wall with windows on it. And then the cops would have been called, and I would have been charged with a felony in Arizona, which is why I'm very careful with that. Okay, I think it's a design flaw, right? Now, let's talk about what the VP9 does, okay? So this is a VP9A1K. So it's different in design, and it's different on purpose. Now, this is a thing with striker-fired guns, because you've got to have an interface somewhere between the frame and the slide, because the slide is where the boom boom happens. On a hammer-fired gun, that's the hammer, and it's back here, and you can see it and get it out of the way. With a striker, can't do that. So that's why like the P30 is different in the way that this works. But HK's engineers actually just changed the way this works. So I want to show you a couple of things that they've done. Number one, in order to take this gun apart, here's how it works. Now it works on both sides. I'm going to show you on my left hand, so then that way you can see this. This is the takedown lever here, right here on this gun, right? And you have to rotate that 90 degrees to take the slide off. So what you do is you lock the gun to the rear like that. I did with my thumb on this side. Then you take this takedown lever down. It's stiff because it's a fairly new gun still. Notice it doesn't have a magazine in it, okay? Then we release the slide and off it comes. I don't have to press the trigger because the way that they've designed the striker release, you don't have to press the trigger. So that is very good. Second thing here is I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put it back together. Okay, so I put it back together, put the slide release up. Now I am going to put the slide home, put an empty magazine in the gun, okay? So this is an A1K magazine, a 15 rounder. Lock the slide to the rear. Now, when I go to take the takedown lever down, it won't move. And the reason it won't move is there's a doohickey on the inside here that the magazine picks up that pushes up on the right side of the frame to where the takedown lever is blocked. So if you have a magazine in this gun, you cannot actuate the takedown lever. So you can't take the gun apart. And you're, gosh, what is going on here? Oh, I need to take the magazine out of the gun, which gives you an extra layer of safety. So the two things that it does, number one, you have to remove the magazine in order to actuate the takedown lever. Number two, you don't have to have two hands on the gun in a weird way. I'm going to show you another problem with that weird way in a second that Glock works. because you simply lock the slide to the rear and then you can use your thumb like that and then that pushes down 90 degrees. Okay, fine. And again, I don't have to hold the gun with both hands to do that. Number 3, release the slide, don't have to press the trigger, and the gun comes apart. Now I can do all the things that I need to do to clean or lube or whatever it is I'm gonna do. Those are actually nice features because what it does is it, in an engineering sense, in an administrative sense, it takes the problems out of what is really a challenge with Glock firearms. And it's kind of a unique challenge with Glock, is the honest truth. Push that back into its position. Now I can load the gun. It'll work. It'll do all of its stuff. Okay, that is an advantage. The other problem that I see with Glocks all the time is because of the way that it goes apart. Okay, now I will say one advantage. Pull that out there so that can come apart. You got to take the magazine out to put the slide back on. One advantage of the Glock is you don't have to reactuate the slide release lever, is that because it's held up with a couple of springs, then all you got to do is pull it back and now it's back in its original condition. You don't have to worry about a lever that's lead out of case. But the fact of the matter is that lever is kind of in the way otherwise, and it probably won't go in your holster otherwise. And so I don't really see that as a major problem. But it's this thing here where I got to pinch like this and then use this hand, because what I see people doing all the time, and I'm going to be willing to show you this, and I'm going to be very cautious. I'm not going to actually do it, but I'm going to show you where people get into problems, is 2D view here of a 3D camera, is they use this hand to push. So you got to pull this back just a little bit, just till it unlocks. You can hear. You just hear the unlock of the block, right? So the locking block unlocking is what you need. You need to get the spring pressure off of it. And so I see people, and I've seen people do this, that they reach over, that they kind of take their hand over and go this way and go down on this. And what that does is, in order to do that, then they kind of tilt the gun in and end up like I'm not pointing it at myself, but they end up doing this thing. And if the depths were different, right, you could see I'm pointing this gun right at my forearm if I'm in line with it. So you see people do all those kinds of things. Of course, the way to avoid that administratively is pinch back like this and reach from underneath the gun, right? So you can take a Glock apart successfully, carefully, correctly, and avoiding all of those problems if you know how to do it. But we've seen a non-trivial number of errors. Now, again, what is Glock or any other manufacturer like this going to say? Well, they're going to say, well, you need to follow the manufacturer's, the handbook, right? You need to follow the operating manual and take it apart according to the operating manual. I don't disagree. But when I have other choices on the market that frankly have better ergonomics, have better triggers out of the box, don't have to mess with, and have a administrative thing that means that I don't have to worry about all that, and it comes apart intuitively and more safely because I'm not pressing the trigger and I'm not doing the two-hand futz a bunch, that's a better system. It's just simply a better system. And that's one of the reasons when I made the switch in 2017 that I switched from a Glock 19, this is a 17, to the original HK VP9. This is a VP9A1. And so it's superior for that. Now, I don't have every gun on the market to show you, right? So I could parade by a bunch of other guns and show you how they are taken apart. But in particular, this little kind of doohickey bit here, this little thing is kind of uniquely Glock. Well, it's not kind of uniquely Glock. It's a unique design feature of the Glock. I don't like it. I don't think it's a great feature. Now, if you're going to shoot Glock, I'm totally fine with that. You're going to carry a Glock. That's great. A lot of police departments issue them. And for a long time, Glock was really kind of the superior firearm in the market. And they still work great, right? Number one thing a gun needs to be is reliable. Glocks are darn reliable, right? It's a reliable bullet thrower. It'll go bang, even dirty, even dry. Not super duper dry, but you know, it runs, right? It's a highly reliable firearm, and it works just fine. And when it came out, game-changing gun. But guys, it's been 40 years since that design feature came out. 40 years since they introduced that takedown lever. And this new stuff is better. And so if you are carrying a Glock, I want you to be quintuply, unbelievably mindful of taking this gun apart. I want you to just be super paranoid that you're going to shoot yourself, right? When I was carrying my G19, I was just absolutely paranoid I was going to shoot myself with that gun. I'm a lefty. And so, you know, holding it here, oh no, man, I'm gonna verify, make sure that there's no magazine in the gun, lock it to the rear, verify it, eyes and hands, rack, do all that stuff, okay, making sure there's no ammunition around. and then I'm going to point it in the direction of least consequence, even though I'm not holding it in a way that I can press the trigger. All right, fine. I'm going to be very careful here, and then I'm going to point it at my dry fire target that I know has a backer that will stop a bullet if I need to. And then I'm going to very carefully, okay, let's hope that I did it right. And okay, I'm pointing at my dry fire target. Oh, thank God it didn't go off. And then I was able to take it apart. Be that paranoid with a Glock pistol. With an HK, you still want to be mindful, right? But recognize the lever's not going to come down. I can't take the dang thing apart if I don't take the magazine out. So I lock the slide to the rear, take the magazine out in order to take it apart. That verifies that the gun is unloaded. Of course, you still want to verify that your extractor has worked, right? So you want to look in the barrel, you want to look in the chamber there and make sure it's empty, and verify that with a finger. Verify with a finger that you've got no magazine in it. You do. You do have no magazine in it, and then you can take the takedown lever and then just pull the thing apart. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Much better system. Anyhow, you know, again, I don't want this to come across as an anti-Glock screed, but I do want to, if you are carrying a Glock pistol, I want you to be super paranoid about that. And if you're in the market or looking, this is why something like a VP9A1, I think is a superior choice. Hope you have a great day.